Hello and welcome to another episode of the Bearded Mystic Podcast, and I'm your host, Rahul N. Singh. Thank you for taking out the time today to either watch or listen to this podcast episode. Before we do begin, there's a few things I would like to share with you. The Bearded Mystic Podcast does need your support, and you can do so by signing up to our Patreon page. On Patreon, there's ad-free and bonus episodes, along with other benefits depending on the tier that you select. Details are all in the show notes and video description below. On Saturdays at 11 AM Eastern Standard Time, there is a free virtual meditation session, along with discussion and Q&A that happens afterwards. Please find the details in the show notes and video description below if you're interested in meditating with us as a community. Please do like, comment and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast streaming app, please do give this podcast a 5-star rating and do follow or subscribe to get future episodes. And most of all, share this with your friends and family who may be interested in topics and themes like we're discussing today. Today, we will be continuing on with my series on the wisdom of the mystics. Last month, we looked at the teachings of Sri Narayana Guruji, and we learned a lot about his teachings of Advaita Vedanta that was linked with social reform through abolishing the caste system. And it was really insightful to read his works and discuss it with you last month. And today we'll be looking at the famous Sufi mystic Bulleh Shah Ji. He was in Punjab, and his poetry is well known amongst a lot of Indians today because of its sheer honesty. So let's get started. We'll be looking at the first poem. What we're going to do is we're going to go through each poem, but we're going to go through each stanza at a time because there's a lot to pack in this episode. Poem 1. In one point, the whole tale is concluded. Stick to the point, leave all calculations and accounts. Do away with hell and punishment of grave. Close all the chapters of all the scriptures. Do cleanse your dreams of heart and rapture. The whole narrative points to the one reality. In one point, the whole tale is concluded. Here we can understand that in one point it implies that there is a sign. There's this one sign, this one point where everything is understood, where everything is shown to us. We can then see that deeper truth right ahead of us. And all we need to know is that the truth is within that one sign. So some people call it the ishara, some people call it the method, some people call it the insignia, the mark. It's something that just triggers that realization, that triggers one to understand the truth, that allows one to absorb the truth completely in one go. Now, it seems like enlightenment happens at one point, is what Bulleh Shah is talking about. But if you think about it, enlightenment actually takes several points until that one last point. So you have several sub-points before you get to the main point. In one point, the whole tale is concluded, and the whole tale meaning enlightenment. So if you understand that you can stick to the Brahmgyan or the truth and you just stay with it, you literally absorb yourself in it, immerse yourself in it, then that one sign is more than enough. That one pointing is more than enough. One word can be enough. You know, we don't need to think so much. We don't need to intellectualize so much when we are in that capacity to understand the truth. So we don't need to also calculate our karma. Have we done enough? Have we not done enough? Do we need to do more? Do we need to do less? All of that doesn't need to be calculated or anything like that. Hence he says, stick to the point, leave all calculations and accounts. Who cares? Some people say this karmic accounts. Who cares? At the end of the day, what we have to look for is how can we get to enlightenment? How can we get to that point? So stick to the truth and we will get there. That's what he's saying. Then he says, really, nobody can scare you with the threat of hell. Who has seen it? And nor can someone tell you that you'll be punished by death. For example, when Bulleh Shah Ji says, do away with hell, he's literally saying, get away with these concepts. People trying to make you fooled into thinking you are lesser than what you are. You are this truth. Why are you allowing yourself to be entertained by such concepts? And then on top of that, he says the punishment of grave. Like, yes, death is going to happen. It seems like a punishment, but stop thinking of it like a punishment. Death is not a punishment. Death is merely a sign that this is not the end. That's what it is. It's the end for the current body and mind and the manifestation of it. But is there something that is beyond it? And he doesn't just mention just hell and the grave. He even says, close all the chapters to the scriptures, because the one sign is enough. We don't need to be thinking about what chapter says this, what chapter says that. For example, we've been going through the verses of the Bhagavad Gita. We've been going through so many chapters so far. Does it mean that we do not know the truth if we don't memorize everything? Or sometimes it can even mean that if we take each chapter in itself and we think of them as separate pieces rather than one whole tapestry, what happens is we get further confused because we will find contradictions in the scripture. So it says close all the chapters of all the scriptures. At the end of the day, this one point is all you need, right? That one pointing, that one ishara, that one teaching that can change your life. Truth is never delayed. It is forever revealed. This is something we need to understand. We don't have to wait for the truth. It's already here. Right now, we can realize this truth, and it won't take us long. Then he says, do cleanse your dreams of heart and rapture. Clean your heart of anything of meaning, like whether it is hell, whether it is a certain rapture event. Get rid of all these notions. There's no need for them. Yeah. Everything written and said points to this one pointing, this one truth. And this is where our focus and attention needs to be. So this one reality of Brahman is supreme. That's all we have to understand. Hence he says, the whole narrative points to that one reality. So we don't need to get stuck in the stories, what's been written in the chapters of the scriptures, what's in our hearts of desires. We don't need to look at any of these things. We just need to go straight to the one that is always present, always here. Then in the next verse he says, we bow our forehead all in vain, carved scar on forehead without any gain. People chuckle at the mere reading of kalma. We hardly believe with our heart while saying kalma. Kalma meaning prayer, the Islamic prayer. We bow our heads sometimes out of custom and the appearance of respect. We see this. People do this all the time. They bow their foreheads, but really it's for nothing. Or they ritualistically do it and it has no meaning to them. And inside their mind, they may be thinking something else. They may be feeling some other feelings. They may be bowing in front of something with reverence, but they have some sort of expectation. Nowadays, spirituality, religion has become literally a business on an individual level, not on a whole holistic level in terms of spiritual organizations or religious organizations, but even ourselves. We're trying to make business with some God, telling this God that if he does this for us, then we will do this or we will do that. We are literally trying to bargain, and you can't bargain with the truth. Inside our head, we may feel something different. So what's the point of bowing? And if we're bowing and touching the floor, the repetition of that ritualistic action will only leave a scar on our head. But what is the value of that? All we get is a physical scar. But is there an increase in our devotion? No. Why? Because we have some expectations. We're bowing ritualistically without any meaning, without any purpose, without knowing the awareness of this truth. And if you think about it, it is a radical statement that he's been making so far. He even says, people chuckle at the mere reading of the kalma. Because what are you reading to, and who for, and what for? Are you speaking to the one reality that is already present and always has been present? Or are you chatting to something that you want to believe is true? Is it something you know to be true or something you believe to be true? This is what Bulleh Shah is saying. And then the final line to that verse is remarkable. He says, we may say our prayers, we may do our practices, but do we believe it with our own heart? Do we? Do we honestly feel there is truth there? We normally seek to know God out of fear, but not out of a real thirst to know this reality. Do we really want to know this reality? Or is it merely, I want to know this God because if I don't, something bad will happen. I will go to hell. I will be in suffering. I will have to live another life. No, this is not the way. This is not what Bulleh Shah wants us to do. Then he says, has the truth ever remained unfolded and concealed? In one point, the whole tale is concluded. The truth has never been hidden. Never has it been taken away, hidden away. Not at all. Why would the truth be hidden? Why? Nobody. There is no power in this existence that can hide such a self-luminous truth. It's self-revealing, self-illuminating. Nothing can hide it. No darkness can even put an end to that light. It cannot even cover it minutely. This is the power of the truth. It's not something, when it says unfolded here means unrevealed. It's not something you can fold away and put in your pocket and pretend nobody knows it. Whoever says the truth is like that is lying to you. It may be a secret, but it's an open secret. Once this truth is revealed to you, you see it everywhere. There is not one place where this truth is hidden. And this is what Bulleh Shah Ji is saying. And it's worth thinking of, this question. Has the truth ever remained unfolded and concealed? We think of the past avatars and the gurus, but has their truth ever been extinguished? Look at it. We are remembering Bulleh Shah Ji today. We've been thinking about Sri Narayana Guruji. We've been looking at the Bhagavad Gita with Sri Krishna. We looked at the teachings of Guru Nanak Dev Ji and Kabir Ji, J. Krishnamurti Ji, Osho, Ramana Maharishi, Swami Vivekananda Ji. It has been growing. They have not been forgotten. Therefore, this truth can never be concealed. Therefore, focus on this one reality and the whole story is finished. The story of this separate being when there is only this one reality. Then in the next verse it says, a few move to the woods and others to the seas. A few eat none but a grain. They get exhausted and attract pain. They return home weary and tired. Some people go to escape life. They go to the mountains, they go to the forest. Some go to the jungle in pursuit of spirituality, in pursuit of enlightenment. And some go out to the sea, meaning in pursuit for wealth. So you have both, worldly people and spiritual people. Some are beggars and they eat whatever is given. And what happens? They get hungry, they starve themselves, and the body experiences pain. The very body that has been created, they say, by their Lord. And they're punishing the very creation of their Lord. How does that make any logical sense? Mahatma Buddha, he starved himself for so many days. He was asked by his wife when he returned back as Mahatma Buddha. He was asked by his wife that, did you have to do all this that you did to get to enlightenment? Could you not have stayed at the palace? And he's rumored to have said, You're right, I didn't have to do all that. I could have stayed in the palace and got what I got. Simple. If somebody ends up begging, or they just eat one grain of rice because that's all they get, either they would get sick, they would get malnourished, or they miss the life that they previously lived, where they will start thinking about food, they will start dreaming about feast, their meditation would be about feasts as well, what food they used to eat. So what happens? They didn't achieve anything, they're now malnourished, they get exhausted. They return back home, weary and tired. But this can be meant in two ways. One is that they go back to the life they lived in the world, defeated, known to have failed. They went to see God and found nothing. Or they die and enter the next life because they did nothing to get happiness in this life. They were not satisfied. They were not content. Let me take it a step further. They return home weary and tired, maybe old. Not only did they lose the juice of youth, but they lost out on the upbringing of their children, a decent relationship with their wife or their spouse. They missed out on their grandchildren. They missed out on deep conversations with friends. That's why spirituality is not about leaving the home. I don't think it's about becoming a monk. I really believe that the truth is best realized while you're in the world. And trust me, every monk has to return to the world. Where else have these monasteries begun? Where else do Vedanta classes occur? Where else? In the world. Nobody lets go of the world. Everybody has to come back. Therefore, it's best to attain everything in this world and offer your services accordingly, your seva accordingly. And then Bulleh Shah Ji says, a few of them in mystic seclusion retired. In one point, the whole tale is concluded. Some have it so simple that they just meditate on the formless. And soon as they meditate, they enter into a oneness with the formless and everything comes to an end. How can we make this easy for us? How can we get to that blissful state that even ascetics, monks, they cannot attain? And what worldly people with all the riches of the world cannot attain. So what can happen is even a few people, they may get the mystical experiences, but they don't know what to do next. They may go to the jungle, they may face some success. But what happens? And this in the next verse, Bulleh Shah Ji says, secure a mentor who would lead to divinity. Divine frenzy contains contentment absolute. The divine love would direct you to eternity. The heart is gushing out with the truth. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And there's this verse, these 4 lines are very, very important in spirituality. First of all, he says, secure a mentor, find a guru, a teacher, a mentor for spirituality. Now you don't have to approach just a guru. Now you can have many mentors in spirituality. People who do not call themselves gurus. They may be like me who have a podcast and we will help anybody. We are not looking for the Sadguru type of fame. We are not looking for that type of following. In fact, a mentor will always be looking for quality. A friend, a spiritual friend, always looks for quality. And I would even go further to say that you have certain gurus that I know of personally who even empower their own disciples, and they even give the same level of respect to their own disciples. And that is unique. Those are the true teachers. Those that say only they can be. If you see someone as a one-man show or one-person show, and they've not created a next line of rishis or swamis or so forth, real ones, a real tradition, a real sampradaya, stay away. If we want to truly have any experiences of the divine, we must seek out those that know the formless. This is true. Anyone that can get you closer to the awareness of formless awareness, the awareness of Nirgun Brahman, that is a person to go for. Do not let go of that person. Once you find them, seek the truth as much as you can. And be honest, be sincere, and listen and comprehend. Don't ask questions for the sake of it. Live the answers first. Experience them. We must ask the mentor to take us to that ultimate reality. We can't simply accept that, oh, because they're spiritual, they have to do this. No. We must first ask them. And we must ensure that the mentor will help us get there. The spiritual coach will get us there. The spiritual teacher will get us there. The guru will get us there. Where once we know our true self, then we're in that divine frenzy. We know nothing else but this divine. This divine is everything. And this divinity is something that we just keep on consuming and consuming, and we will be forever content with life. What more do we want from life? And I've picked this verse because I feel it to be true for myself, that once you have experienced the divine, once you've experienced Brahman, there is nothing that is close to this. There is this contentment, as he says, is absolute. And there's no second to it. You feel so satisfied with life. And life keeps giving more. I often say to people that if you live in the world and you work, you're sincere, you're honest, and you're also trying your best in spirituality, life will reward you. Life will look after you. This existence will look after you. Why this existence will look after you? Because it needs people like you. So that's why I always say, when you want to ask for something from God, if you believe in God, if you believe in this formless awareness, if there's anything you must ask for spirituality. Ask for spiritual attainment. Ask for Jivan Mukti. Don't ask for anything else. If you have a guru, please only ask for spiritual things from your guru. Do not ask for material things. Do not. This is my biggest warning. Because later on you may regret not asking for it. And if you're young, even more reason to do so. The quicker you get there, the better. But if you're older now, it's never too late. If you have that moment for the next breath, right now you can pause this video and you can ask your guru, you can ask God, you can ask the Lord, you can ask anyone that you believe in, your Ishtevta, and ask for spirituality. Ask for the divine. So, because you're in contentment, it means that when other people are entangled in this game of pleasure and pain and jumping between the two, the one who secures a mentor, they find a balanced state. That divine love, that bhakti, will lead us to eternity towards everlasting life. And when we are in love with this formless, just like a lover is with their beloved, then our mind and heart is consumed by this one. There is no other way. And since this one is eternal, we become eternal along with it because we have unveiled the true oneness. And then the heart just gushes out the truth. And these are very strong words. Think about it. The heart is gushing out with the truth. The heart dances in the truth, sings in the truth, reads scriptures in the truth, loves the world with the truth, just exists in the truth. And that's what happens. The heart is open to new levels. And then Bulleh Shah Ji concludes, "Oh Bulleh, the true word is never stalled. In one point, the whole word is concluded." The whole word. Never believe for a second that the truth can get delayed or is ever delayed. Never believe this. That's number one. It is always self-revealing, always here when you're in the awareness of formless awareness. You want to get to that point, attend our Saturday meditation sessions. We go into this process. We work with this process. And just remember, as it says, the true word is never stalled. It can never be stopped. No power in this world can take us away from the name of the truth. You will always be in the Naam, in the divine name. There is no way you will be away from it. Therefore, in that one moment, in that one point where all objects of the world subside and space parts away, there is that one point and all is concluded. Where all dissolves away, in one point the whole word is concluded. The word, meaning the truth. And it's concluded, done. Let's go to the next poem, which is Bulleh, least I know, who am I? So this is going to be a very interesting poem. Neither am I believer in the mosque, neither have I trodden the infidel's path, neither am I pious in sinful, nor I Moses in Pharaoh's. Bulleh, least I know, who am I? So Bulleh Shah must have been asking, must have been wondering, well, who am I? What am I doing here? What is my purpose here? Why am I in this world? And so he starts that neither has he attended the mosque, nor the path that others call the infidel's path. So what he's saying is, his path is completely different because a well-trodden path will be breaking apart, it will be wearing down. And so one thing is saying, I'm not part of the established religion. And if you say that I'm not part of the established religion, then part of the other religion, I'm saying I'm not part of that too. The ones that you call infidels, I'm not even part of them. So he's talking about being beyond both aspects. Neither does he have a false sense of purity. He could be doing the very things that his religion or any religion prescribes as sinful. But he says he must do them. So it doesn't matter if he's pious or he's full of sin, full of mistakes, full of errors. It doesn't matter. So basically, there's no hypocrisy at all. He says your ideas of purity, your ideas of what's wrong and impure, do away with it. I don't want anything to do with it. And nor is he Moses that was in the Pharaohs. Because I believe Moses was adopted too, just like Bulleh Shah was. So Bulleh Shah asks rather rhetorically, that does he at least know who he is? And this is a question we must all ask. The last line is, of that verse, Bulleh, least I know, who am I? Next stanza, nothing I have to do with piety or rottenness, nor am I in pleasure or grief. Neither am I of water nor of earth, neither am I of fire nor of air. Bulleh, least I know, who am I? So Bulleh Shah doesn't have any false sense of piety. Oh, if I do this, I'm a pure person. If I do that, I'm a pure person. Nor does he say, if I do this, I'm rotten, or bad, or terrible. Nor is he someone that is rude or arrogant. Therefore, he's not going to judge somebody else. Nor is he ever in pleasure, nor in grief. If he receives something beautiful, nice. If he receives terrible news or loses something, it's okay. That is the state of a true person. They're relaxed in balance, and that's the way to be in life. For example, he's not in that state that is beyond every pair of opposite. Neither there's happiness and sadness, like and hate, heat and cold. He's not going through those pair of opposites. And neither is he any of the four elements referring to the body. So does he know who he truly is? This is the question. Then he says in the next stanza, neither have I found the secret of religion, nor was I born of Adam or Eve. Neither I gave myself any name, neither am I of those who squat, nor do I have anything to do with dwelling, Bulleh, least I know who am I. So there is no secret of religion. The truth is there for all to see, in plain sight. There's no way there is some sort of secret. So Bulleh Shah is absolutely right when he says he hasn't found a secret. It's not a secret. Like I mentioned earlier, it's the open secret. If we say the truth is a secret, then it implies that the truth is not self-illuminating and not self-luminous. This would be going against what we've been teaching. And since he isn't part of any of the elements, as he mentioned in the previous one, nor can he be from Adam and Eve, who were apparently the first two people on the earth according to his religion, which was Islam. And he says, neither did he even give himself a name. His parents gave him his name, or somebody else gave him a name. So in essence, he is nameless, which is the truth for everyone. Does the Atma have a name? No. Atma does not have a name, neither will it ever have a name. And in Islam, they squat. And he is again claiming he doesn't do any of that, which is in the prescribed religion. Nor does he belong to any country or place. So he asks again, Bulleh, least I know who I am. Does he know who he has always been? Then in the last stanza, he says, from the beginning to the end, I know nothing but me. Nobody else I recognize and found. Nobody else more like a sage than you. Bulleh, whose spouse is all around. Bulleh, least I know who I am. Here's a concluding verse that is just spectacular. Absolutely spectacular. If he goes to the very beginning of time and he goes to the very end, what is going to be observed? One's true self. If the only thing to be found is formless awareness, it is one that is aware of the beginning and one that is aware of the end. So who is aware of this? Myself. So Bulleh Shah doesn't recognize anything or anyone else, nor does he need to. He hasn't found anyone else as the other. Then referring to his divine mentor, saying that there is no better sage than those, or formless awareness, whichever one. There's nobody else more like a sage, nobody as pure, nobody as knowledgeable, as insightful. And he says his beloved is everywhere, his spouse is everywhere, all around. Not his physical spouse that he was married to, meaning the beloved. In bhakti traditions, and he calls it his spouse. Why? To show the intensity of that relationship. And in bhakti traditions, the idea of the Jeev being the bride and Brahman being the groom is often used. You see it a lot in the Gurbani and in certain bhakti poems as well. Everywhere he looks, he finds his beloved. And at least he can say that he knows himself, which is what spirituality is all about. There's a lot to gain from that. So he literally goes through the whole process of neti neti to show us of what really remains. And then we'll end with this final poem, which is called People Put Truth in Controversy. Say the truth by heart and soul, why fear? By telling the truth your success is near. Truth entails lasting growth to cheer. Truth indeed is the most strange thing to hear. Let's look at this stanza in particular. Do not fear speaking about Nirgun Brahman, the absolute truth. Whatever is the truth, you must speak. Be free of any worries or any fear. Do not fear telling people what you see and what you deal with. If you're talking about Nirgun Brahman, say you are. This is a true religious people, those that talk about the truth. Some people say, they think if I tell the truth, meaning if I insult somebody, that's what their idea of telling the truth is. Telling people how it is. But they never go further to say who they are. They tell others what mistakes they make, but they never look into who they are. Who is it that is aware of the mistake? Who is the person that's talking about the mistake? Who is the person listening to the mistake? Who is the question? And who is never answered? So when one is established in the eternal love for the truth, they don't need to fear anything, as they are clear with their intention. Absolutely clear. Even if they say bitter words, it will taste like honey. Because that's the power of their truth. They are truthful living. They're not just talking about it, they're living it, they're showing it. So if you tell the truth, you remain honest, then success is always around the corner. The truth always allows us to grow. It's always making us grow. The more you seem to know, the more you seem to want to learn, and the more you understand the subject is so vast. So the truth allows us to expand our understanding, and also it allows us to implement and integrate the truth fully into our lives. This growth is worth celebrating because so many are stagnant in spirituality. So many are going to the temples. For what? So many are saying their prayers. For what? Have they got to know who they are? Have they trodden the mystic's path? No. Their spirituality is dualistic, then I would say that's not spirituality. Spirituality is about oneness. They are just stuck in recitation, in practices, in rituals. That's all they care about. That's all they teach. Hence, because the truth is so rare, even though it's readily available, people find that it's the most strange thing to hear. The truth? How weird. How strange. That's how they view things. Then he says in the next part that people put truth in controversy. He resides nearer than windpipe. People entangled in mere discussion and hype, who can resolve the controversies of the world, in the pursuit there wasted their life is the word. People put truth in controversy. Very deep lines there. Anyone that has never heard the truth has lived a very, very closed life. They definitely find the truth controversial. You tell them the truth, they think you're saying the worst thing ever. Why? Because it disturbs their very fabric of life. The fabric that's not even real. And they defend the fabric as if it's everything. They think that either the truth can never be attained, or they make it seem like it can only happen by the grace of the Lord. Such people, stay away from them. They're the ones that love mere discussion and hype. You want to know God? Just listen to me, follow me, and you may know one day. Go to that person that says you can know it today. Those are the true people. But if you say that you know the truth and you can reveal it today, people will say, that's impossible. In fact, they are the people that put truth in controversy. And then Bulleh Shah says, but this reality lives nearer than the windpipe, meaning it is even before the breath itself. That's how close this truth is. You see, these clerics and these priests that we have in all religions, they just get into mindless discussions about what the truth should be, not what the truth is. Oh, this is what the truth should be. It should be like this. You should be like this. The real mystic, the real guru, the real teacher, the real spiritual friend will say, this is the truth. There's nothing more for you to know. Here, discover it. Here it is. Take it. The weird thing is that these clerics, these priests, and all these people, they hype their own weird theories of duality and they ignore the obvious oneness. They waste their life doing it. They tell you that there's some God up there judging you and that we must fear it. Or we must accept a certain person, then we will go to heaven. If we believe in this one God, whatever name we give it, you will be saved. You will be okay at the day of judgment. You will go to heaven. You will be reincarnated in a better life. So can these controversies ever be resolved? And by whom? Those that teach these things, will they ever stand next to that person that tells you you are awareness itself? You are Brahman itself? Aham Brahmasmi? Brahmgyani Aap Nirankar, which is in the Gurbani. Are people willing to accept this? Shivoham? Are people willing to accept this? So Bulleh Shah Ji makes it clear that those that have run away from the truth, they have wasted their life in this discussion and in this pursuit. They may be the faces of these religions, but they have defaced the religion. They have removed all juice, all quality from that religion. They may go to spiritual places, but they don't want to listen. And in fact, they will question, they will doubt with nonsense. And it's not doubt in the sense of knowing the truth. It's about them declaring that they have the truth and because they have been blessed by some other thing. Some other entity has blessed them. They are in ignorance and they want others to remain in ignorance. Hence, the truth is controversial because the truth wakes you up. The truth shows you the reality of things. The truth turns you into the mightiest creature possible. The strongest. And what do these people who want to control you do? Show you you're weak. What can you know? You're talking about God. God is so vast. Look at you. You're not even a speck of dust in this universe. But the speck of dust is the universe. This is what mystics like Bulleh Shah Ji have been emphasizing for us to know. So I end with this one warning. Because of people putting truth in controversy, that those that know this ultimate reality their life will always be misunderstood. Always. This concludes the teachings of Bulleh Shah Ji. A few poems, I know. There's a lot more that we can discover. Maybe one day we will go back to Bulleh Shah Ji's teachings. But there's a lot for us to comprehend, a lot to take in. And I hope that you found this a very interesting episode. Thank you very much for listening. Please do share this podcast with your friends and family who may enjoy this content. Do follow me on social media to keep getting updates. Join the Bearded Mystic Podcast WhatsApp community group to continue the podcast discussion, and the details are in the show notes and video description below. Like I mentioned in the beginning, it's really great if you can support the Bearded Mystic Podcast through Patreon. There you get ad-free and bonus episodes, like I mentioned, and other benefits depending on the tier that you select. Do check out the details in the show notes and video description below, and I really do appreciate any help that you can provide for the podcast. Please do rate and review the podcast on your favorite podcast streaming app. Do like and comment on this video and subscribe on this YouTube channel. And do follow or subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast streaming app that you're listening to this episode to right now. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll end with the Soham and Shanti mantra. Soham, Soham, I am that, I am that. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om peace, peace, peace. Namaste.